Hey guys, welcome to part 5 of this month, Food Forest Tours. Hope y'all are doing well today. As you can see, it's continuing to rain and it's getting heavier and heavier. But it's really peaceful being out here. It's a little cool with the wind blowing and the rain blowing, but definitely not bad. And if you haven't gone outside in the rain, in your growing area, or better yet, if you have a food forest that you've started, I extremely recommend it. It's really valuable to kind of see where the water is going, and it can be a little bit more difficult with with stuff growing like this thick to see. But then as I'll show later, it's really quite easy in general. Like, this is a place where the water pools at, so you can see that, and you can also tell where the water would flow kind of through the water features of the food forest, which is the main thing on there that you can observe, and kind of from those you can tell generally where the water's coming from, and then how your methods are working to divert that water to where you want it to go. So we'll kind of go over that in the next few videos going through the food forest. We'll start up here though with right up next to the fenced in area with the mulberries right here. And this mulberry is the one right here. Actually, the graft did survive, and I think it was the only one. There may be a second one, but you can see the leaves are quite a lot bigger than the other. I think just are kind of like a wild mulberry rootstock. So you can see those leaves on that one are quite larger with the cultivated variety than the other ones, and it seems like that is the case generally with the cultivated varieties. It's interesting. I wouldn't necessarily select for that personally. I'm not sure if people have selected for that or if it's just the way it's ended up, but it was kind of interesting to me to see how, I think that I have three named varieties that I'm growing right now, and they all have quite a bit bigger leaves than these other ones right here. So and also the ones that are growing wild here, those have our wild ones here are probably bigger than those leaves, but probably definitely not as large as that named variety and the other ones that I'm growing. So that's kind of interesting. Got a lot growing up in this bed amongst the grape cuttings, which is what these are, and these were stuck over the winter this past year, and they're looking really good. A lot of them are putting on a lot of healthy growth right now. You can see the reddish leaves are the newest growth on there. Looking really, really good. Got a lot of vines just in this area. That's probably, I'd say just 10 right there, probably in that section, and then there's probably at least another 10 over here. And I liked this method. It worked really good. I had a lot of success. I'd say probably 80% success just sticking the cuttings straight in the ground with the willow also. And that's it's a willow tree right there coming up. All those are willows too. So the willows are coming up with the grapevine, and I would think it would be a lot easier, honestly. I think from now on I'm going to actually stick the grapevines directly in their final home, and I think as long as I've prepared the soil well and put down a good leaf mulch and let that starting to break down, I think they will root just fine. And I may use the same technique of putting the willow trees in alongside them, but just having them, maybe have one grapevine on one side and another grapevine on the other side. It's kind of like a backup, but I think that will work really good, and it will significantly cut out the effort of, because now I've got to dig these up and put them in their final home. And they probably don't have a super big root system yet, but you still got to dig a hole. And if I'm putting them beside some other fruit trees, then it's really probably not going to disturb the fruit tree that much, just because their roots are spreading out. But there is the chance to do that and kind of just disturbing the soil, you know, that you've got set up right around there. So I think it can be a lot better to stick these cuttings directly in their final home, especially since they came up so easily and did so well. Fig trees and pomegranates right here are doing really good. That fig in the back right there is by far the tallest one. It's about probably 2.5 feet or so, almost a meter tall. These pomegranates are looking really healthy. They're really starting to put out a lot of new growth. You can see all the red leaves are usually generally the spots it's throwing out new growth. So it's, you know, it's got the main shoot right there, and then it's got those little red leaves. Juggling this umbrella and camera again. But right here, it's probably going to start sending out some side shoots right there, and you can kind of see all over there too. So looking really good and healthy. I will probably be moving this group pretty soon over to the food forest. I haven't decided yet if I want to move the grapes, but as far as the figs and pomegranate, they can actually probably benefit from going ahead and being moved. So especially since they kind of will struggle more with winter sensitivity and die back from the cold this winter. So if I can go ahead and get them in their spot and let them have a little bit of growth and adapt before the winter gets here, that can probably be beneficial. Whereas if I moved them during the fall, or even when, you know, it's starting to get into the winter, then it seems like there would be the possibility for them to be damaged more. And I think I've planted, can't remember for sure, but I think I had planted some before during the winter, and it was definitely like the plants struggled more being disturbed during that time when they're trying to make it through the cold weather. And this is the apple rootstock that is taking over the world. It is extremely tall. It's probably almost 4 feet on some of those, and it was completely cut back to the ground just the beginning of the year, and it's only been growing for probably maybe 2 months or so, maybe a little longer than that, but we've still got about 4 months to go of the growing season, and these trees just aren't slowing down. As you can see, they're super healthy. I saw a little bit of looks like powdery mildew, maybe. You can see right there on each of those two. That's the only disease issue I think I've seen. You just see some of these are just putting out side branches like crazy. The tops going, the sides are all new growth. You can see that one's about to start putting new growth on where those light colored leaves are. All of these just look super, super healthy. And little ladybug chilling out right there on the top leaf. The peach seedling right here is looking really good. Some bunnies got in right here. Yeah, that section where it kind of looks like there's a hole. Yeah, a little bunny got in there and went to nibbling. As you can see there, most of those are covering in there, and that's why they're a little shorter than the rest. But I think I got the fence fixed at least to keep the bunnies out, and I think they're tall enough now that the bunnies would struggle. I think they were more about that height when they got to them. So if he sneaks back in on that side, he can probably snack on those, but I'll sacrifice those for as long as these other ones are good. And the peach tree's looking really healthy right here. He got it kind of, you can see it kind of looks like it shoots out to the left right there. The main stem is right here, and then it goes out to the right. And despite getting like gnawed on a little bit, it's actually still living on this whole shoot right here. And it's putting off some side shoots too right there, or at least one side shoot. And it looks like it's got a shoot coming out right down there to replace it. So I can't decide if I'm gonna let it keep growing and then maybe just bury it kind of deep, maybe bury it, I think it's about maybe 8 inches right there. So bury that all underground and just let it keep coming up, or I probably should cut it off, but it's so hard to do, you know, when it's got such good growth coming up. But still trying to decide on what to do there. We'll see how that goes. Got these peach seedlings right here. They are really, really, really starting to look healthy, and nice green healthy leaves. You can see they're starting to those light colored leaves, they're probably going to be sending out some side shoots, so they're looking really healthy and happy. You can see there's some that are smaller and some that are bigger. You know, like obviously those ones that are all about the same height are definitely the tallest ones. You can look kind of down, like there's one right there that is significantly shorter. These two right here are shorter. There's one kind of right there, and one kind of right there, and then there's these really big ones beside it. So I'm probably going to be selecting for the taller ones, just because I want them to be able to grow up quicker and faster, so they can compete naturally with other plants nearby, so they have a better chances of spreading on their own. I would love, for the peach varieties that I select for, to be able to make it, out in the wild and compete with things. So that's one thing that I like to, I think I'm gonna select for choosing the peach varieties. It's got some new shoots coming off on there. The ones on this side are a little shorter right there, but still doing good. So that's really good to see how they're turning out. This rain and combined with the hot weather we'll be getting soon should really jump start them also too, help them get going even faster. And same thing with these pomegranates with that. This one coming back. They were just recently the dock was, which is what that is, all that stuff was growing really thick around these, and the pomegranates were doing fine with it, and they would have probably done about the same, but I went ahead and just cut back the dock and laid it down. You can see it's kind of already, I think I laid some down inside there and some on the outside, and it's already probably breaking down in there and covered with other stuff growing. But these pomegranates are coming back nicely, most of them. You can see it's already bypassed where it was last year. The top of the plant last year was right there. Kind of get the camera down to the level, so you can see it's actually taller than it would have been when it was standing up, and all the new shoots that are going to be coming off on that side, looking really healthy. Let's see, go down to this end. That one's just really pumping out now. It's probably almost maybe 2.5 feet tall. It's already past, or this one actually was a little bit taller last year, so it hadn't quite gotten up to. This was one that was pretty covered in the dock, so now that the sunlight's coming in, it's really coming back. Go over to the other side around here. This one's the one that it's exploding. This one was more in full sun, so it's had a little bit longer, and it also came back up out of the ground first from the roots. You can see all those all these side shoots it's sending out just everywhere. All of them down there that are really healthy, and it's actually doubled probably where it was growing from last year. That branch right there, you can see kind of that dead looking one was actually where it was from last year, where it died back during the winter, and it has grown completely from the bottom all the way up, double that. So it was probably about a little over a foot, or maybe 1.5 feet last year. Now it's probably pushing 3 feet already this year, and still got probably the main growing season to come up. So I'm really hoping these will get big this year. This one right here was supposedly a soft-seeded variety, and those varieties, based on what I've seen and heard, they tend to be not as cold hardy, whereas the harder seeds are a little bit more hardy as in due to being able or in regards to being able to survive the cold weather better. So if you've had some pomegranates that you were soft seed varieties and they didn't make it, you could possibly look into trying some of the more cold hardy pomegranates. Ooh, and I just stepped in the pond right here, there's a mini pool here that I didn't see. There's the other one over here. This was the one that was in the pomegranate mound video I had done earlier, the fruit tree mound, and it was very covered in the dock. So now that it's been exposed to the sun, I think it looks like it's really happy now and really getting going. And you can see where it was last year. It'll probably catch that, I think, within a month, probably, or maybe even surpass that. So really excited to see how those are doing, and hopefully we'll get some of these plants soon. I love pomegranates, and just interested to try the figs too, so hopefully you can get those into their permanent homes soon and get them going for next year. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll see you soon in the next video.